So hello and welcome to another First Things for us. As you can see, I'm out with the SLK today, and that's because I'm going to be doing a little bit of a buyer's guide for this car. So if you're interested in buying this car, you actually get to find out what it's like from someone that actually owns one, and actually owned one for about 4.5 years now. So hopefully you'll enjoy the video, and hopefully you might find a few little sort of hints and tips about buying one of these cars. So as you can see, this is my SLK. It's an SLK 200 AMG Sport. It's finished in palladium silver with the black Artico leather interior with red stitching and red seat belts. What I'm basically going to be doing is going around and just talking through this car and doing a little walk around and explain different things about it. We'll start off with the outside and then we'll go on the inside and we'll go into the boot and we'll go under the bonnet as well. So as I mentioned, this one is finished in palladium silver, which is a very sort of interesting colour. It does say it's silver, although I think most people would agree with it is actually grey. They do a colour also called selenite grey, which is actually a grey as opposed to silver, and it literally is a shade darker than this car, so quite how they can call that this silver and that grey, I'm not too sure. So let's have a look at the front of the car. As you can see, this one is an AMG Sport, so you do get this slightly sportier body kit on there as well on the front bumper. Just looks a little bit different compared to the other model, which is a Sport you can get. The Sport one, the front bumper is completely different. Also the headlights, all the surrounds around the headlight are black, whereas on the Sport it's silver, so it does look a little bit different. In terms of the lower grille, as you can see, you get a bumper that's much more sort of in line with the style of the 55 AMG. On the Sport model, you just get still get these LED winning lights, which you can turn off, by the way, you don't have to have them on. And they sort of come out here, and because it's just one big grille, the main difference between a Sport and AMG, you don't get these little bits here, it's just one continuous grille. So the only thing I think that looks slightly odd is that you get the LED warning lights and they come out and they sort of don't connect to anywhere, as I quite like the style this actually goes across and connects to that. So these alloys are 18-inch AMG alloys. As you can see, you do get the little AMG emblem, it's upside down. And these are, it needs a little bit of a clean. Tyre wise, you can get various different tyres for these, obviously different brands. I've replaced these since I've had the car, and I've also replaced the wheels as well. I think these were about £115. These are pretty P0 Neros, so probably not a cheap tyre. You can get budget tyres, but I did have a budget tyre fitted to the car when I picked it up, and it was absolutely horrible. It made almost like this droning sound, which is absolutely vile, and as soon as I took them off and placed them with these, the sound stopped. So personally, I'd always recommend going for some sort of premium branded tyres. You also notice another little sort of subtle change are the dice wheel caps, which certain people absolutely love and always point out to me at cars that other people hate. So a little bit of division there. They are starting to look a little bit tired now, so I might actually have to replace them and put something else on. So moving on to the side of the car, as you can see, it's quite an attractive profile with the roof up and with the roof down. Personally, I always like the roof down because it is convertible. So moving on to the back of the car, again you get some more of the AMG body styling with the rear bumper and the diffuser as well. It looks really nice, and a twin exhaust, and they're actually genuine exhaust, and that's some cars you see. As you can see in the rear bumpers as well, you do also get rear parking sensors on this particular car. Now, this particular car does just have the rear parking sensors. You can get one without the front ones as well. I'm not sure if all the parking sensors are standard, where you just get rear ones are standard and it's an option to have the Parktronic front and rear ones. And all these are, it's just an audio sound. You put the car into reverse, you hear a beep, and it's basically just an audio sound. So the closer you get, the sort of finding the beep, and if you're just about to hit something, then you get a continuous sort of sound then as well. The only things I can find that really go wrong with this car, it's happened to this guy, you probably can't tell in this light on the camera, but these lenses have actually slightly gone. It's apparently quite a common fault, and what's basically happened when I mean they've gone is that it's actually got lots of little cracks in there, and I think just about see them. Now unfortunately it's happened to this one, the centre light, and it's also happened to this one over here as well. So unfortunately these are £250 a unit new from Mercedes. However, I'm going to try and look and source sort of a second-hand pair, which again is sort of £100 to £150 or second-hand one. New, again from Mercedes, this for brake light is about £90. Again, they're sort of £50, £60 on the second-hand market. What happened to the front lights? But as you can see, my front lights are actually alright. Let's go to the other one. And as you can see, actually they're all... So as you can tell, when you open the door, you pull the door open and you can pop it to that little bit of glass just goes up and down. So obviously you are buying the cars, make sure it does go up and down. Obviously when you open the car, the inside is fairly sort of standard really in this one. The only thing this has got, which I've mentioned before, you've got the black Artigo seats, you've also got the red seat belts. Now these aren't actually a cost option. I've had a look through some of the price lists and through some of the brochures, and they're not actually a additional cost. They're actually just something you do have to spec from the factory, which is, I just think is nice. I think it brightens up the interior just a little bit. It could be a little bit dull if it was all black. As you can see, you got all the stitching. It looks really smart, just enough, and it's nice that it's tied in with the steering wheel on the door cards here, and just around the gear lever. And obviously it is the same on the passenger seat as well. Just helps brighten up just a little bit. As you can see, it's quite a nice place to be, the SLK cabin. Again, you've got a very nice sort of sporty steering wheel, covered it in leather, and it's also got a little bit of a flat bottom there as well, which is slightly more of a sporty design. As you can see, you've got your automatic headlights here, you've got your key control as well here, and also your electronic handbrake is down here. So lights are fairly simple. You don't have an off switch, is my only sort of criticism. So you have it on, you have side lights, main lights, and you also have the parking lights. You've got rear fog light, and you've also got obviously headlamp setting there as well. You've got your key and ignition over there. So moving on to the fascia, as you can see, it's a very nicely designed fascia board. Everything's where you want it to be. One of the things that I do quite like about this car compared to cars like the B class, some of the models, is that you actually have the screen here is all integrated into the dash. On some of the models, including my V class, it's actually almost like plonked onto the top. It's like they sort of forgot about it almost. This particular one has the command system on here as well, which is fantastic. So as you can see, you've got your Bluetooth, which is phone, and obviously audio. Radio if you want that, which is DAB radio on this one as well. As you can see, it comes up with our sat nav, which is a slightly bigger screen as well. Some of the other screens are a little bit smaller that you get in the standard car, but the actual command screen is a little bit bigger. As you can see, you've got all your buttons here doing various things with the command unit. I won't go into every single one. This particular one as well also has your controls here for your EPS and your ESP, so not EPS. You also have your eco button controls, your start stop system. You also have on this particular one, you have the air scarf and also heated seats as well, which came as a nice pair, as a nice option on this car. And I'll just show you the air scarf there. So all this does is just blow out a little bit of hot air, and it is what it does, what it says in the tin basically. It just feels like you are wearing a little bit of a scarf of hot air, hence the name air scarf. Moving down on this particular one, which I can't get the gear lever out of the way. This particular one is just fitted with air conditioning. I'm not a particular fan of climate control. I do just prefer having aircon. That's just my own personal preference. So there's all the controls for that. I won't go into those again too much. You've also got the gearbox here. Obviously this is a lever one as opposed to some of the ones which are column shift ones. Some of the late, I don't think they actually did in the SLK. They did a small little unit instead. And as you can see, you've got park, reverse, neutral drive. You've also got a paddle system on this car, so you can actually move the gear lever, as you can see, right to go up and then left to go down. You've also got, in terms of paddles as well, you've got the two paddles again, right to go up and left to go down again. And then finally, all you have here is a little bit of control, and again, this is just for the sat nav unit and for the stereo, so you can actually change song, change the radio station, things like that. And that's a little back and a little cancel button as well. In terms of the centre console here, as you can see, you also get two cup holders. Now this is the most, obviously one of the most important things about the SLK. This is the control for the roof. Now obviously there are two different things here. You've got your main one, which is your, I think that focus agent, that puts the roof down. It's your big silver one that comes up and goes down. I think it's up to put the roof up and down to put the roof down. And then you've also got this little one, which is all these windows, and what that basically does is put all four windows down. Now in the SLK, as you can see, you have your two little back windows and your two main ones. Obviously you can control the main ones using those, very traditional, yet every car does that. But you can also put the back window down, put all four at the same time, just by putting this one switch down. So it always turns it into a bit of a sort of pillarless coupe almost. And then finally, just at the back here, you've got your sort of little compartment area. I don't know what you put in here. As you can see, all I do, it's got the media interface in there. Now this particular car had, obviously being a Salvio car, had a media interface, and you've got these leads which I've still got somewhere in the house, and it comes out and you've got a USB, so you plug that in. There's a lead, and at the end of it there's a USB you can plug in, there's an aux socket, and there's a very old iPhone before they changed the sort of lighting connector, the sort of slightly thick one that's like nearly an inch thick. You've also got USB in there, and you've also got a cigarette lighter charger as well. As you can see at the back of the car, you've got a wind deflector, which is this fabric one. Other ones are available to buy, but all SLK should come with this fabric one. Just below that, you've got your little bit of a sort of pouch area. I think all this one has is just a carrier bag, as you can see, just for if I can nip out, I need to suddenly get a carrier bag, which is always useful. At the back of the seats, as you can see, nothing much there. There is, just in there, you can just about see it's right in the middle. There's also a little bit of a coat hook in there, so you can actually hang something up and have it at the back. When I've been away, I've actually found it quite useful to have pillows. If you take your own pillows away with you, like I do sometimes, if you're going sort of camping or self-catering or whatever you might want to do. I've actually found that's a very useful space, depending on how tall and anything you are, but there's actually quite a little bit of a space there just for you to do that. There's also at the bottom of the passenger seat, and you probably can't quite see, just a little bit of a cubby hole as well down there, which again is a bit awkward to get to. With this car is to do with this ignition system. Now I've had it before where basically you put the key in and it wouldn't start the car. So you put the key in, turn it, and basically you wouldn't want to do anything. Now at first I thought the battery was flat, because the car's been parked up for a couple of weeks. So I got the RIC out, and they came to test the battery. I said, well, actually the battery's about a third full. It's all right, you know, it's fine. So eventually what they had to ring around a bit, and it was only because one of his friends in the RIC actually said, oh, I had this recently, it's something to the ignition system. And basically what it is, the ignition system, when you put the key in, and I will demonstrate here, if I can find my key. Now I don't know if you could hear, it actually makes a noise. So when you put the key in, it actually makes a noise. And basically that's the steering wheel lock coming off. So when you automatically put the key in, it automatically comes off. Well, it wasn't doing that, and I didn't know it was doing that, because I didn't know it actually made a noise. One of those you don't actually know until it goes wrong. So that's basically what happened with the car, and I had to have a new steering wheel sort of barrel put in, which again at Mercedes dealer, I didn't go to Mercedes dealer, but I think Mercedes price is about £500–600. So as you can see, I've been thoroughly enjoying show season. I've been out quite a bit in the SLK, and I've been doing quite a few different little drives in it, and as you can see, it does need a clean, so I do apologise for the slight mess in the car. I do need to give it a bit of a sort of clean before we get more into autumn. As you can see, this is the SLK's boot. I constantly get comments about it not being very big, and my sort of response is, well, go and buy a big estate car or go and buy a van if you want lots of storage space. It is a sports car, so it will have a small boot, unfortunately. All sports cars do. As you can see with this one, you get your divider, which you have to have down. If you want to put the roof down, you have to have this divider down, which as you can see makes it a little bit more awkward there to actually get stuff in and out. So you do have to sort of plan when you're going to put your stuff in if you've got a big suitcase or something you want to get in. This bit is actually, it does go all the way under here, so you do get quite a bit of a space. So it's still enough for sort of a couple of small suitcases in there if you want to do a weekend away. Just don't expect to go away for sort of a month and take your kids with you and everything in this car though. Here, all you have is just some stuff. This actually does come with a full, well, not full size spare wheel, but it does come with a spare wheel, which is unusual with cars. Let's get my locking wheel nuts in here and just a few little bits and pieces as well. I think there's some tools right underneath there as well. And then finally, just underneath the boot lid, you also have a little bit of a warning triangle as well. So other than those couple of issues, again, it's worth checking all the sat-nav works. It's worth checking the roof a couple of times as well, putting the roof down and putting the roof up. So just checking all the electronics really, checking that heated seats work, does the air scarf work? Taking it out for a test drive, is it smooth, does it feel nice, is it going to gear nicely? Does it hesitate at all? It just sort of the obvious things really you look for in what car you're buying. Obviously just make sure condition wise it doesn't have any little issues. Obviously these cars are getting a little bit older now. This particular one is one of the first of this generation of SLK, so you do have to obviously be mindful that he's 11 years old and these cars are going to start getting a couple of little issues, which again, it's just the age of the cars, unfortunately. So as you can see, I'm just editing the video ready to go on YouTube, and one of the issues I actually forgot to mention while I was filming this video was that actually the paintwork on the SLK, and there is quite a wide issue, this is very well known by Mercedes themselves, about the colour called Fire Opal, which is the bright red. Now this is a solid colour, and unfortunately Mercedes had a bad batch of paint basically. And they obviously didn't really know about this, so they actually painted some of the cars, and a couple of years down the line you get little blisters coming up in the sort of clear coat of the paint. Now Mercedes do know about this issue, so I'm trying to make that clear, and if you go to a Mercedes dealer you should be able to get actual full respray, or car at least a respray on the areas that have been affected, and obviously they put the actual proper paint on it, so actually shouldn't bubble up again. However, there are a couple of things that I know people have had issues with. One is if you've had the car repainted, or if Mercedes suspect that the car has been repainted, even if you had a small patch of the car repainted, so you've had maybe a part of the bonnet resprayed at some point, but the boot lid's gone, and the boot lid's bubbled up, Mercedes then will sort of question, well, you've done something to the paint, even if it's not you that's done it, you've maybe got a receipt from a previous owner that's had some paint work done, and Mercedes might question that as well. So it's worth checking. I'm not saying don't go for that colour, I'm saying make sure you clearly check the paintwork over when you go out and buy the car. So hopefully you've enjoyed this video, you enjoyed a bit about whistle stop tour. It's quite a quick little tour. I could be here all day yakking about this car, and indeed I have been at shows, but I just really wanted to show you a bit about the car and show you different features and go through and do a bit of a detailed video on it. Hopefully you've enjoyed it. You might have taken a few hints and tips if you're looking to buy one. If you have any questions, please do put those in the comments. I'll do my very best to answer those as well. Make sure you hit that like button, also that subscribe button, to see what I've got coming up soon as well. So it's goodbye from me and goodbye from the SLK.